Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of A-Star the Podcast. I'm Abby Rolling, and if you're new here, we are a creative collective learning our way to a free life. Make sure to subscribe because we have new episodes every Sunday at 4 p.m. CST, and don't forget to like and comment to lock in and join the conversation. I'm so excited today because I have a new acquaintance here with me, and his light is just so radiant, so I'm so excited to learn together today. So welcome, Cray.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
And good evening.
Okay, so first things first, I have to get this on the table. Can we please talk about the 3 in Cray? Is it silent or does it make the sound of an E? I just have to know.
Yeah, it replaces the E in my name, and it's the third letter, so the 3.
Oh, I didn't even make that connection.
I'm really into numerology and like astrology, and like the 3 is the creative number and the communicative number. So 3 is kind of just it's a really important number to me. So I just threw it in there. And my parents call me Cray. Like when I go home, I get called Cray. So that's really my name. Okay. I just wanted to switch it up a little bit.
Just a little bit of a creative spice in there.
Yeah.
Give a little flavor.
Yeah.
I love that. So when you say like numerology, do you mean like angel numbers, repeating numbers?
Yeah, exactly that too. It's more like Pythagorean math for like life path numbers. Okay. Like it's kind of like your zodiac sign. It's kind of like what your birthday adds to. It's kind of it adds to a certain number, and then you reduce it, and you have a certain number between 1 through 9. Mm-hmm. And with that number, you kind of have a different kind of characteristics that come with it, like different tools and different lessons and blessings.
So if you see those numbers, for example, like 1111 or 333, you know that you're on the right path.
It's like synchronicity.
Yeah, synchronicities.
Yeah. So like when last year, or no, the year before last, 2019 was the first year I was kind of like doing music, which was like a universal 3 year because, you add 2, 0, 1, 9, that equals 3. Mm-hmm. So it was more of like a communicative year for the like collective and even for me personally. And then as I was doing it, I kept like waking up at 3:33 or like seeing the clock at like 12:33. I'm like, dang, this must mean something. Right. So then I looked it up and it was just like talking about how like your angels and your ascended masters are with you and you're on the right path and just to keep, going. And I'm like, okay. And I couldn't think of a title for my project. I'm like, well, this is it because, I can't not see it anymore. So I put
it was meant to be that way.
Yep. So that was my first project was 333.
Ironically, when we were on the Young Creatives YouTube channel earlier today, I know you just had a music video released with them.
Yes, favorite show.
So please go check that on YouTube, Young Creatives and Cray. And I went to their channel. It wasn't your video because your video got like 1,000 in a day.
Yeah, it did get a K in a day. So shout out to everybody that tuned into that.
Literally, shout out everyone who watched that video and keep playing it because it's gonna last for generations. But what I was going to say is that we watched another Young Creatives video and the views were 333. So
at the time you watched it,
yeah.
Hey, see it in sync.
Yes,
and that video is great too. They just dropped that wake up video too. So.
Yeah. Go watch Wake Up too because you'll really change your perspective about quite a bit of topics going on right now. So yeah, it's just cool to kind of get into those numbers where you're just like in sync on the right track. So basically, I am really happy to have you here today because I resonate with the fact that you are a light. On your Instagram bio, it says you are a light worker and a new age artist. And I think that's really clever, but also it makes sense to me. So can you go into that a bit?
Yeah, so it's really actually kind of funny because I innately I knew that I wasn't like an R&B or a hip hop artist. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of looking through the categories that they had on Apple. And I didn't even look at like the definition, but I see new age. And I did that on a single I dropped called Lost Me, and I put it as new age.
So that's the genre.
Yeah, the genre. I'm like, this is kind of new age music. And then when I did Major Arcana, I'm like, well, I should just drop this whole project under new age. Mm-hmm. And then so the day I did drop it, I went online and did Google it and looked up new age music, and it was like positive, uplifting, optimistic music to raise the vibration of the environment and to heighten or brighten the outlook of the listener. So that's pretty much what I intend to do with my music, in general, because
sure.
that's kind of how I use music to heal through my life as a kid. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to make music that makes people feel good. You know
And
what I
it
mean?
is such feel-good music. Every song that I've listened to so far on Major Arcana, and just going back to your old tracks as well on YouTube, it does really raise the vibration and frequency. I know that a lot of new age music is considered like up to like 532 hertz frequency.
Yeah, high
We're
hertz.
actually like getting into the technical terms of it, but
Facts.
yeah. Normally, like the music that we'll hear on the radio is a lower like 300, 400 level. So they actually it's been proven that those levels are made to keep us
At a lower
stagnant.
vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like when I go to sleep and stuff, I listen to frequencies in my AirPods. So most of the frequencies I listen to are over 700.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So I
you're
listen
really
to
up
high
there.
frequencies, but like they don't want you to vibrate that high, because then you
Exactly.
might be able to tap into your little gifts and your, you know what I mean,
The
your tools.
intuition.
And that's really what I've been doing or using as a guide through this journey I've been taking with the music is my intuition, listening to my gut, because I'm such a logical person.
For
You know what I mean?
sure.
I'm such a, I got to think about it this way, that way, and make sure I got to, you know what I'm saying? I can't just, I have to have like a backup plan. You know what I mean? Like all these different things. Like
The practical side.
yeah, the practical side. I had the money I set aside for this on a rainy day.
Goals.
Yeah.
But then when you balance it with the intuition, the practical and the intuition together, or the divine masculine with the divine feminine, they come together so perfectly in tune, which creates that higher frequency.
Right.
That we're
Which
talking
is
about.
what I think is what the new age is about, is to learn the balance of the masculine and the feminine energy in everybody. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I am very masculine at the same time, very into my feminine energy. That's
Right.
like being an artist in general is, you know what I mean? Tapping into something deeper.
Yeah,
you know what I
I do
mean?
know
And
what you
tapping
mean.
into an
It's-
emotional place, because I do make most of my songs from, an
Yeah.
emotional place. It's from
Exactly.
an experience or from something that really actually happened.
And it feels so much more realistic and genuine, as well as like your authenticity is shining through there.
Right.
Because some people will just rap about their Gucci bag or their new going on vacation to Aruba, but it's really about digging deep. And even when you do get into those lower vibrations, learning from those experiences to be able to know there's contrast in the world between the light and the dark.
Right. And I mean, it's cool to talk about those things, whatever. I'm not knocking it because I don't do it, but people are going to resonate more with something that they can do or have done. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like everyone has had a job or went to school or had a mom or had a dad or had, you know what I mean?
Or felt sad or,
or
felt
sad
happy.
or happy or lost someone. So
Yeah.
like those things, those topics are going to always forever like be able to live on forever. They're gonna be timeless music because people can go back to a time that they were sad and they heard that song, or they're going through the situation and go back to that song.
Like
you know what I mean?
quantumly leaping to a different experience.
Facts. Yes, that's a whole nother topic. I'm into the quantum biology, quantum physics too. I'm a nerd. I'm definitely a nerd.
Same here. So speaking of all of this spiritual talk, how do you think that your spirituality, if you even define it as that or however you do define it, how do you think that has made your creativity either spark or like moved it to the next level?
Well, it's something that like when I was starting to, I had an incident happen at one of my jobs where I actually got robbed at gunpoint there, and it kind of
wow.
really like. I mean, it was a traumatic situation. I didn't really absorb it at the time.
But it
then
was a turning point?
Yeah, it was a very big turning point. And, like, after that scenario, I just kind of really started thinking, like, what would have happened if that scenario went bad? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of legacy did I leave behind? Did I do anything? Like,
Right.
And I always felt like I came here for something bigger than myself and to be here for more than just myself. You know what I mean?
I'm really happy you mentioned legacy because it's extremely important for anybody who wants to create content or music, whatever it may be, to understand that every day when they do post on the internet or whatever, it is leaving behind a legacy. When you're gone, somebody might be able to find that. And do you want somebody to feel good about what you were creating or the opposite? And obviously the answer is you want somebody to be inspired by it.
Right. And that's facts for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So another question I had was just like, why do you create, and where does your inspiration come from? Because you're obviously such a radiant light. I just want to take more of it in.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big child. I'm the oldest of 3 boys.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, my mom worked 2 jobs, so I used to babysit with them a lot. You know what I mean? So from an earlier age, I kind of I had a lot of more responsibilities, but then I also wanted to be more responsible too. Like, I wanted to help out. You know what I mean? I wanted to be like an adult. I couldn't wait to be able to drive and to be able to work and to be able to do those things.
Whereas some other kids would be like
more eager to go play and to do other things. And even when I did play, like, I'd use Excel sheets and use Play Money and like make businesses and stuff.
So you knew where you were different.
Yeah, like I was kind of like, I was just like a unique, quirky kid, I guess. My mom let me do it though. She was definitely cool with it.
That's good too.
But that was just one of the things when I look back at when I was going through that situation, I was like, what like really makes me happy? Like, what have I always done that like makes me forget about time? Or like,
those are great questions.
You know
to
what
ask
I mean?
yourself.
Like, what actually would I do? Like, if money didn't matter, you know, like Alan Watts, if you ever heard of him, he's a really good philosopher. But he just talks about like, what if money were no object, and like, what would you really do in life instead of just working a job that, you know, you were taught by your parents to go work a job.
Yeah.
And you worked a job they didn't like, and they lived in a house they didn't like, and it kind of just, you pass it down, and it's kind of retro no vomit, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's a cycle.
Like, brings our generation away from the generation previous to us, because we're learning to be innovative with what we want to do for a job when money is involved. But it's like, if you take that away, what would you be doing for your life? If there were no eyes on you,
facts,
what would you be doing? Would you still be putting on a show?
Right. And like with the music, I was doing that behind the scenes. Like, I was recording on my like laptop on GarageBand, doing that without releasing it all for a year, probably a year or so before I actually went to a real studio. So like, it was definitely for myself. You know what I mean? Like, I was doing it alone. Like, it wasn't like I was just kind of playing with it. And so like, when I figured out that I was passionate about it, if you do something that you're passionate about, it'll end up bringing paper along the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Always got to follow your passions, because honestly, it's one of the highest vibrations.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, so that's beautiful so far. I really vibing with everything you've got to say. And we were talking earlier off camera about how your vibe is more melodic, you would say, and kind of finding that song within. Even though like we're speaking to each other right now, I can almost still feel that song, which is really awesome.
No, I feel that. Yeah, and it's funny too, because like when I told my mom I was gonna do music and stuff, she's like, I don't see you like being a rapper, you know, or like being like all like flaunty, or you know what comes along with the rap industry, but
like what the stereotypes are.
The stereotypical, yeah. And like, I was always more influenced by more melodic music, like Outkast, you know, like Drake, stuff like that. And then even older classical music, Michael Jackson, you know, those type of people. But like, those are more of my early influences, I would say.
How about now? Have those influences changed at all?
No, Drake's still the go.
Definitely.
But, he's just the first artist that really told my story as like a biracial mixed kid, and like, you know what I'm saying? You're not tough enough, not white enough, not light enough. You know, it's just like, but you're in that gray area, but you have a perspective, you know what I mean? So like, just to find that sense of identity in yourself and to be confident with it.
Oh, it's so important.
Yeah. So like, just to really.
And even if we're not quite sure who exactly you are at the moment, to be able to be okay with just where you are right now is so crucial to being able to just feel alive and present, rather than always thinking about the future. Like, we're just right here.
Yeah, and time is fluid, and like you said, the present is like the best place to be, because like when you're in the moment, that's where the gifts are, and that's where the answers might be. Like, you might be looking for an answer, and then all of a sudden like the TV comes on and there's a commercial. And the commercial says a certain thing, but it rings a bell. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're paying attention, if you just were in the moment, you'd be like, oh, I had the answer right there. Or like you have a conversation.
Yeah.
It comes up, what you're just thinking about comes in conversation.
Exactly.
So just being present is really key.
It's all a flow downstream.
Facts.
It really is.
Because most people want to just be in control of everything. And that's like myself too. And I still am at fault to that because that's like a human condition. You know what I mean? But like you want to control so much and you want to be in control and do this and that and set all these plans and you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like you have to just be in ebb and flow with like the divine order. You know what I mean? Like it's coming on the divine time and like
divine timing.
God's not going to give you something that you're not ready for yet. Like if you threw me on a stage with 50,000 plus people, I don't know what I would do yet. You know what I mean? Like
really true.
That's a very big audience. You know what I'm saying?
Being able to adapt to those situations and being ready for them at any moment.
Right. So he's definitely going to make sure you've done some like local shows and done something before he just throws you on there.
You're totally right.
So.
That's so cool. That dialogue made me think of a book that I listened to. I actually just listened to like the CD on a little boom box, and it was called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Have you heard of it?
I think I have. I have like a law of attraction library that has a bunch of different audiobooks in it.
Do you know Abraham Hicks then?
Yeah.
Oh, love Abraham Hicks. Has always brought so much guidance into my life.
Mm-hmm. It's that secret knowledge.
You
gotta look for
secret.
it. It's the different apps that people don't go download. You know, you can go download them yourself.
Yeah, and it's always being open to finding that information too, because if you don't want to, it's not gonna come to you right away.
Right.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, why don't they just tell us the secret in elementary school? Well, it's because like you may not be ready for it then, like you were saying.
No, definitely. And a lot of it like seems like cliche when you hear a lot of the things like in The Secret and the law of attraction and all these different things. It's like you know what I'm saying? It just sounds
like I can manifest my destiny. So does that mean I'm gonna be like actually rich with 2 Ferraris like next year? No, you have to actually put the self work in and do the journaling, do the shadow work. Dig deep into those emotions that you don't know are there.
Right.
And that's where the growth comes.
And it has to be for the right reasons and the right intentions. You know, everybody has a gift. Everybody can benefit. It can be abundant, can have a great life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it might not be abundant compared to some, the Ferrari. You know, you might have a Honda Civic, but you might have a whole house and you own it, and you might have a business and you're happy. Yeah. Everybody's different.
If you're rich, you can be rich with money or you can be rich in life, in my opinion.
Right, exactly.
And it's all my opinion, but there are resources that are available, like Abraham Hicks. And there's another one, Dr. Joe Dispenza. He does more of a science perspective of spirituality, where he dives into like the biodiversity as well as like the neuroscience and everything, which is super interesting too. If you're like, oh, everything they're saying is woo woo. No, actually, it's not.
No, there's definitely facts. Yeah, I definitely sound cray when I'm talking about the things I talk about. But I'm like, no, intended. If you really go look online, like I'm definitely not tripping. Like this is definitely, I'm just not saying it in the same terminology as these guys are saying.
Right. But we all have experiences that we can connect to from everything that we learn. So just being open to conversation, knowing that whoever you run into, like I didn't know Cray a week or 2 ago, and now we're sitting here having this deep, beautiful, divine conversation.
Right.
So anything can happen if you open your heart to it. That's how divine order works.
Yep. Facts. When you're moving with your heart instead of just your brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just love how spirituality is involved in your music as well, even though it can be mainstream if you allow it to. But do you want to talk about your music at all anymore?
No, and with the spirituality tip too, like it's definitely new age and it's definitely uplifting. I just kind of like want to influence people to look within and start learning themselves, because a lot of people are just confused and they have a lot of conflict because of confusion. You know what I'm saying? And it's more so, I'm not trying to because it kind of repels people too at the same time. It's like, oh my God, I don't know about this. This is like, you know what I mean? Spirituality to some people is just like,
is it religion? Is it
religion?
Spirit?
Is this or that? It's just more so getting in tune with yourself and like getting in touch with what you're, you know what I'm saying, really here to do. You know what I mean? What's your purpose? What do you do? What is the reason you do the actions you do every day?
I feel like I've been asking myself those questions since I was like 10 years old, just looking in the mirror like, what am I? Who am I? Why am I here? What's Earth? Like just over and over again, these questions. And maybe that's why to this day I'm more open to diving deep into my self-work. But honestly, if you're not feeling the best lately and you're down in the dumps for some reason, just being able to flip that mentality and see, okay, yeah, I am not feeling good right now. I'm upset because my friend is gone or whatever it may be. Being able to switch and be like, but I'm grateful for what that friend did for me, and I'm grateful for their influence on me. It comes with that contrast and being able to balance it.
Facts.
Honestly is.
Like finding the roots of your anger or your sadness, and then finding the reasons or the lesson behind why you're doing what you're doing.
So
or what
true.
happened in that situation.
Yes.
Facts.
Note printer.
Facts.
I love this conversation. It's brought me to a new perspective. I feel changed already, and I just love the concept of being able to be a new person every day, every moment. Yeah. So if you're still listening, thank you so much. We have dove into topics about spirituality, creativity, law of attraction, and I'm so excited to have you on and hope to see more creativity from you in the future. If you would like to do a little shameless plug for where people can find you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. My website is 33cray, CR3Y.com. Got merch available there. And then my album just released in November, Major Arcana on all major platforms. And favorite show, the first visual for that was directed and produced by the Young Creatives, is now available on YouTube. So just type in CR3Y and then favorite show, and you'll be able to check that out. And I appreciate you guys having me here. This is my first interview, so yeah, I'm glad to be able to elaborate on some things behind the music. So.
Me too. So his links will be in the description as well. So just scroll on down. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment so we can all just work towards our creative future together. And we have a huge lineup coming for you in the works with value coming from those rising to stardom. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.